What a terrible unknown fate. What's up, guys? That guy with a... Where is it? Pencil here. Fun fact. I do to have it on and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact. I got 15 minutes to tell you about how I feel about the current state of Ichi, Mr. 1 Year the Witch. And ultimately, let me start this timer right now so I can tell you how excited I am. Oh, it's peak. It's peak. It's peak. Now, notably, Ichi the Witch is peak in a very interesting spot. Notably, if I'm thinking about a lot of the other manga I currently review, and even a lot of the other manga I'm reading right now that I don't currently review, they're in, like, either major arcs, as in, like, they're, like, in the near end of some major arcs, in the middle of some major arcs, or right at the beginning of a major arc. But for Ichi the Witch, it feels like we're still in the wrap-up, yet the build-up of the last major, well, not necessarily the wrap of the last major arc. It feels like we're in the transitionary period. Obviously, we had a nice little calm, little juicy little Kamui arc. Notably, I don't think the Kamui arc is necessarily over. I think obviously her dynamic with Suika still needs to evolve and grow and develop, but at least explaining it a little bit, getting us our history on Komugi, explaining why she is the way she is, how she is the way she is. It's simultaneously reaffirming her character and her strength and showing how she's able to stand in a way that we really would have expected from her not even a year ago when we were first introduced to her. It just tickles my heart. But very clearly, it's an arc that happened really, really fast and then got closed off really, really quick. This is like a whole, maybe 6-ish chapters where we had this whole dynamic introduced and had Komugi's character reaffirmed and affirmated. And notably, reaffirmed and affirmated literally mean the same thing, and I don't think affirmated is a word. That guy on the pencil must be making up stuff. Whoops. But with that being the case, overall, Ichi the Witch is cooking on that part. But very specifically, chapter 48 is what has me saying we're in a transitionary period. Notably, the overarching point of the manga is getting Ichi strong enough to give back shots to the world hater, right? And by give back shots, I mean presumably actually get the guy, right? Because ultimately, he can give as many backshots as he wants to the world hater, but, like, unless you actually capture him and complete his trial, it doesn't really matter. Descaros, the current strongest character in the manga, who could do literally anything to me, and I thank her, literally beat the brakes off this man time after time after time after time after time again, and even ganked him with Togais, and it didn't do anything, because, you know, they're fundamentally immortal, and as long as they don't know their trial, bada bing bada boom, he will stay fundamentally immortal. So ultimately, it isn't just getting Ichi powerful enough to actually compete with the world hater and not get one tap, but it is also, you know, figuring out what the heck his trial is. So that is like the macro narrative. But notably, especially at the end of chapter 47, I wasn't exactly sure what the micro narrative was going to be. Because obviously, with how well Ichi the Witch is doing, I don't think it's... Let me speak very carefully and gingerly now. I mean, Shonen Jump, Lord, please, don't smite me as I say this, but we made it to a year, and it's had so many colored pages, I'm so proud of it. I don't think Ichi the Witch is in danger of getting canceled. I don't think so. I think we're in it to win it, which makes me so happy. But with that being the case, we kind of didn't really have a direction to go. Obviously, we introduced our main 4 characters. We now have everybody. We have Komugi. Obviously, we have Ichi. We have my glorious, amazing, legendary, juicy scrum jumpers. Please, let me just lick that. Queen Descaros, and we have Gokuraku. We have a core 4, and obviously Uro himself. And obviously, the previous arc of Kagami ended off with Uro being like, I gotta boom this kid Ichi somehow, dog. He's getting way too powerful, way too fast, way too quickly. But with that being our core 4, or even our 5-man band, we're here, but we don't have anything specific set up. And notably, as amazing as Chapter 48 is building up to the World Hater, and him possibly popping up, or it possibly popping up out of nowhere, maybe Jiki Shirone side shots? I'm not sure what this counts at. Like, does it go through? Does it go through her arm? I actually can't tell. But essentially, destroying Jiki Shirone, at least her current vessel, bada bing, bada boom, that's an interesting point, and especially with this guy here who set up at least as some link to the World Hater. Whether you think he worships the World Hater, whether you think he's a World Hater in disguise, whatever you think this guy is, clearly we're setting up to something that has to do with this. And also, we did go out of our way to introduce the other 4 major witches of the association. Unless we get a reveal, I think we've met all of them now. We have Descaros, Togais, Monogold, Shirbidana, Amaduro, Otogiri, Franken, and Chikaputo. We have the 8. We have the core 8, who at least seem to be the leaders of their respective organization. So, like, we're probably going to do something with them. But notably, I still kind of don't know. I think it's a little bit too early to do anything super specific with the World Hater, like the World Hater actually showing up for another fight. But, like they do show up here in this hypothetical future vision. And this guy's here. So, like, I don't know. But notably, where in a lot of other series where I'd say, we're in a transitionary arc, but I don't really have an idea where the narrative is going, I'd be worried. I'd be scared. My toes would do the opposite of curling. Let me tell you right now, they're curled. And luckily enough, they didn't crack that time. So why am I so excited? Why do I have so much faith in Ichi the Witch? Why do I think, even though in the current state, I kind of have no idea where we're going, and like in a super vague sense that like outside of the massive macro narrative, we're gonna fight the World Hater eventually. I have no idea what's going on right now, and I don't think it's gonna change at least for a little bit. The reason I'm so excited, and the reason I can still buy it, and the reason I don't have any fear, is because Ichi the Witch has two things. Even if I don't know where the narrative is going, it has two things that work really, really well. And that is the characters, and obviously the artwork. But I feel like I gotta put emphasis on the characters, as they've currently been what's not even carried, because Ichi the Witch has had a really solid story so far, but very specifically has uplifted it even more. The fact that we got a Kamugi arc, and it was quick, clean, concise, and to the point, relatively speaking, yet it makes perfect sense. Yet it works so well within what the narrative is established. Speak of being such a well-established character, despite feeling like she didn't really exist. Oh, obviously she existed early on. She was very early on introduced. But still, actually meeting Spica, understanding the character, growing some sort of opinion on the character this quickly, her being characterized so well, that's the thing I love about Ichi the Witch. And notably, Chapter 48 even reinforces this very, very well. Because all four of the remaining witches, and I say remaining, but again, I'm not sure if there are more, or these are these I mean, I think this is, like, yeah, because they say, aren't we all supposed to witness it? Which, like, implies that they're all supposed to be here, and, like, there would be more witches under the association other than these four. But every single one of these witches gives so much character, not just through their design, not just through their names, but even just a little hint. Let's see. Amadoro, who I do want to give praise to, as someone pointed out, she is the first, like, I feel like she's, at least in any sort of major popular manga, I feel like she's the first just clearly butch character design, which we take those. And notably, that's fantastic. She's well characterized by her design, but also she has 1, 2, 3, 4 speech bubbles, fantastically characterized. 1, 2, 3, 4 speech bubbles, fantastically characterized. 1, 2, 3. Wow, is this a pattern? Okay, she has 5, and this one only has 2. But essentially, all of these witches, despite having literally a panel each, half a page each, well, 2 panels each, but half a page each, do such a fantastic job of being characterized and elaborated on, to the point where I feel like I know these characters despite not at all knowing these characters. And that's one of the biggest strengths of Shiro Uzuzaki sensei and Osamu Nishi sensei's work here. Every single character to some degree feels well established in a way that almost feels like I'm being gaslit. Like, this is a weird feeling to explain, like, why I feel like I'm being gaslit, but like, I feel like I know the characters of this universe so well, despite in the grand scheme of things, we barely know anything. You know who we know the most about, like, just general backstory, history, lore, and all that? Gokuraku! Does anyone else find that absurd? We know Gokuraku's history, his family lineage, we know where his father is, we know where his mother is, in the grave, and we know where his sister, we know all we know all that. We know how he uses his powers, the source of them, whether or not he can evolve them or not. We know all that. We have so little context. You know who the second most character we have most information on is? Komugi. Because we met her older sister. We still don't know what her parents look like. We still don't have full background and lore on the Harvest family. We still don't really know where her path is going to go down now. She wanted to go down medical magic. Now she's in the research club. She clearly wants to stay there. But, like, what does this mean for her character going forward? I don't know. But her two, like, real main characters, like, dare I say, main character in Deuteragonist, titular character in Deuteragonist, we know barely anything about. I love Ichi. He's a fantastic character. I have no context for the boy. Why was he abandoned? Who was his family? Why does he have this unique potential? I don't know. Deskunas, we know she has a little brother. Let me correct that. Had a little brother. And is friends with Togais. What else do we know about Deskunas? We know she's actually a really good person. You know that she has her moments. She has her moments. And we know she's very self-important and self-aggrandized, if only for good reason, because she's actually literally goated. But, like, in the grand scheme of things, despite being a year in, despite being 40 chapters deep, we don't actually know that much. But all the characters are still fantastic. And I think that's the good balance here. The story has worked in such a way that there clearly is a heft of world building. Like, if I had to give, like, an analogy, if the world of Ichi the Witch was a massive book, right? For my DC fans out there, think of the book that, I believe it's Dream of the Endless, is consistently, like, chained to. We may have gotten, like, 3 pages deep. We've got, like, 3 pages deep into the world, its functioning, how it works, all that. And I'm convinced the rest of the book is already written. The way that Osamu Nishi Sensei has been writing and has been establishing these characters, has been showing them off and building these dynamics, and really building not just the dynamics and the characters themselves, but building the world around and through these characters. Gokuraku is not a character without Kagami. Obviously, Komugi is not a character without the structure of the noble society of this world and the harvest family. Ichi isn't even a character without the way that this magical world functions. So that's right. Like, that's the thing. The level of intertwining between the characters, their narratives, and its world building fully excuses it has me fully invested in this universe because I want to learn more. Yo, tell me why one of my favorite chapters in this 48 chapter manga so far was them explaining money. Why was explaining the economy of this universe actually genuinely interesting? Because the world's that well built. Why, despite us not having a clear objective, am I still so excited for what's going to happen? Even if this chapter didn't happen. If this video initially came out when I planned, which was actually going to be chapter 47, 46, and 45, I still would have been geeked and glazing. But obviously, chapter 48 threw a wrench in that for the best way possible by setting up, possible stuff like this and building onto the world even more. And that's the thing. The world never stops building. I think that's one of the most impressive things. Despite us getting peek after peek, glimpse after glimpse, look after look into this big old book that is the world of Ichi the Witch, we never stop growing. We just dropped the next 4 witches. And while their names clearly do mean something, as we can tell with Descaras, and even realistically Togais, the names don't really mean everything. Sure, we have Amodoro Ribbon Candy, the Bullet Witch, and clearly she's got it on her and keeps it on her at all times. She's just like your boy. We still don't actually know what her magical abilities are or what her magics would be, or even what her role is in the organization. Same thing with the Cacophonous Witch. Even though I'd assume it has something to do with music, considering all the instruments, who knows? Same thing with the Voracious Witch. What does she do here other than eat? Does she cook? Is she that kind of archetype? I don't know. And there's one literally called the Villainous Witch that doesn't even have a last name. I mean, like, that's the thing. There's so much here. The world is so rich and thick with 3 C's that I feel like Osamu Nishi-sensei could take the story in any direction right now, and I'd just be here. I'd be here following. And that's what I love. I love that Ichi the Witch has grabbed me by the throat and convinced me, hey, you're going to be raiding me week by week, itching for it, just because you want to know more. I want to know more about this world. I want to know more about the history of these characters. I want to see more of these character interactions and their dynamics built. I want to get more of these newer characters. I want to see these character dynamics develop. Chiki Shirone is a fantastic character, and they've had like 3 chapters. 3! They must have had like less than 100 pages of screen time, and realistically like less than 200 panels. But they're still a very interesting character, and their whole dynamic with their vessel. Like, that's the thing. The world is so interesting, and the characters are so well built into the world that it's like they raise up each other. It's like a fusion dance, gosh darn it. The characters in the world are so well mixed that everything gets risen, and that's the current state of Ichi the Witch. It's a state of absolute world building and character building and universal elevation. The more and more we learn about the world, the more and more you see about the world, it just broadens perspectives. It opens doors. It draws me into this world more and more, and it makes me even more excited and even to a degree worried for certain characters. I don't have too strong an opinion on Chiki Shirone. I didn't until this chapter. And now seeing them fear death and reflect on the dynamic with the witches, seeing Monogold in action as a leader, every single character in this manga who has had any sort of character bangs. They're just gas, from Togais to Descaras to Ichi to Gokuraku to... Like, the fact that I remember all these names. Me, I remember all these names is crazy, and it's only gonna keep going. I do not see Osamu Nishi-sensei and Shiro Uzuzaki-sensei ever plateauing. It's just better. And I've gone through all this, and I haven't even talked about the art's peak. The art's peak. Notably, the art hasn't, like, drastically increased, but that's just because Osamu Nishi-sensei Shiro Uzuzaki-sensei was already a demon from outside. But I'm assuming they're just going to get better and better. In fact, even some aspects of the art have gotten better, but in, like, little minor ways that I have to pull up previous chapters and look, which I don't have time to do in, like, these last hour and 30 minutes, or minute and 30 seconds. But essentially, the art is fantastic, and, like I mentioned, how the character is built into the world, and the world's built into the character, the art and the art design does so much for this world. It makes everyone feel so much more alive and distinct and unique, from every single witch having their own clear and distinct look that either directly feeds into what you would think they would be when you look at them, versus literally or not doing that. Like in the case of Descaras, I wouldn't look at Descaras' design and say Abyssal Witch, but essentially the character design is so distinct, so grand, so I don't want to just say so perfect. It sounds like just basically it's so perfect. It's so perfect because it builds into the characters. Descaras' design builds into her character, which builds into the world building. Same thing with Ichi's design. It builds into the character, builds into the world building. Everything snowballs in Ichi the Witch. In fact, I know the password for this video now. But everything snowballs at Ichi the Witch just to create this ever-growing mass of, oh, this is good, oh, this is good, oh, this is good, oh, this is good. And suddenly, I'm looking at this whole big old ball of goodness, and I'm like, well, it's just gotta be peak. And that's why Ichi the Witch has earned the right to the pre-draw. I don't review it as consistently as I should. Like, I just let weeks pass me by sometimes. But still, I'm gonna make sure I have every single chapter of this manga on this channel. Because I smell peak. I've seen peak, and I will continue to read peak. Because Ichi the Witch is really Peak-Chi the Witch, and it shall always be peak. Ultimately, I don't see a flaw for this manga. And luckily enough, I think it's done stable enough. I think it's had enough color pages. I think it's doing well enough. And Descross is just so fine, there's no way this manga gets canceled. But of course, I am out of time. So if you made it all the way to this video, please leave ball snow. Yo, that was gonna do snowball, huh? You know I'm not that basic. Leave ball snow in the comment section down below. I like to thank you so much. Yo, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you can have a Patreon below where you support me for as low as money. Come on. Thanks for exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So, also to include the live reactions, share the series I am to review, and reviews of all my videos. And if you become a $20 Patreon or $20 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also a link to my Ko-Fi in the description below. You can drop 5 views for a short video, donate a on video, or any views at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. And I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That with a Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, Brandon Payne, J2MA, Guillaume, Buddha Ura, Alex Kenny, Enzo, Swift Strike, Autumn Mornings Lazo, Super Flame Zero, Yuki Ally, Azo2404, and G Prosper. I'd like to give a thank you to our line art tier patrons: Victor Raji, Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, Dreads Owen, and A+A. I'd like to give a big old thank you to our Ink tier members: Austin Wimberly, Euchia, and Shrimpo the Shrimp. And I'd like to give a thank you to our digital art tier members: Jay Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Waki Munoz and Waki Munoz.